Hello, world, and welcome to the Play It Forward podcast presented by PeacePlayers, the podcast where we lift up the voices and stories of people working in their communities and networks to promote peace and equity. My name is Chinny Nwagbo. Hold on, that's not quite right. My name is Leif Frymire, and on today's special episode, I'm taking the reins of hosting and putting your regular hosts, Chinny and Emmett, along with a couple other special guests, onto the hot seat. On today's bonus episode, we'll be diving into our favorite moments, memories, takeaways, and giving high fives and shout outs to those that made the first season of the Play It Forward podcast possible. Woo-hoo! So, without further ado, let's introduce our guests. On today's show, our guests have been working both in front of the screen and behind the screen to bring you the podcast that you all know and love. So why don't we go geographically from the East Coast to the West Coast and have everyone introduce themselves, where they're calling from, their role with PeacePlayers, and feel free to include your podcasting responsibilities along with your other PeacePlayers responsibilities. So East Coast to West Coast, Chinny, why don't we start with you?
Well, first of all, let's just give Leif a round of applause because that introduction was, like I like to say, thebomb.com. Just smooth. You're smooth. You were smooth with it, and I enjoy it. So my name is Chinny Nwagbo, and I am your host of the podcast. But I'm also the interim director of PeacePlayers Baltimore, calling from, as you just heard, Maryland, Baltimore to be exact. And I am just here and thrilled to have all these wonderful people with us. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it to my East Coast cousins, brothers, sisters, which probably should be Detroit. I think it's Detroit. Yeah.
So we can start at Detroit. I am LeBaron Doc Leath II. My part within the podcast organization is post-production. I dibble and dabble with all the audio and video editing. I also do the animations for the intro and whatever sounds we need and whatever music we need and theme songs and all that jazz. I take care of all the cool stuff.
He's being modest. He takes care of everything.
I was going to say dibble and dabble is an understatement. It's the complete
He is
understated.
Yes, magician, phenomenal. Yeah, anything you want to put there that describes someone who's just amazing at what they do. That's what he does. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop talking.
I'm a humble alchemist.
I go in that.
Yeah. And I'm also the program coordinator, one of the two program coordinators in Detroit. I've been with PeacePlayers for 3 years now. I'm involved in a lot of subcommittees, marketing, communications, social media, and this wonderful committee, the podcast committee.
Woo-hoo!
I am.
Woo-hoo.
I will pass the baton on to my brethren city, my sister in arms from Chicago, Andrea.
Hey, thank you. It's such an honor to actually be on a podcast session with you all. This is special. So as Doc said, my name is Andrea Johnson. And I have the role I have played with the podcast committee have been more behind the scenes. So in the planning and development to when Emmett first pitched the idea, and we thought it was a great one, and we needed to press go quickly. So just to see how this came to fruition, and then as far as the interviewing process of bringing Chinny on, best decision we ever made, and then the collaboration with Chinny and Emmett has been just phenomenal. It's been a great experience. I'm hearing great reviews from everybody that I hear that's listening to the podcast. So we couldn't have done a better job of picking a stellar host. So podcast hosts out there, beware of these two. They're forces to definitely be reckoned.
Thank you. That's
yeah.
too much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then
actually, yes. That's why she's here.
Yeah, keep going. It's too much, but keep going.
It's fine.
Yeah, and then like my current role with PeacePlayers, I am the director of PeacePlayers Chicago. Yeah, so I'm happy to be leading strategy, planning, all things PeacePlayers Chicago in the community. Started out in the community that I actually grew up in. So it's very dear and near to my heart to be able to go back and affect change and unite the youth in the community, as well as see them emerge as leaders and creating those equitable opportunities for them. So, coming full circle, again, just thank you so much for all you guys have done to make this dream of Emmett's come alive. And I just can't wait to see what we have to come up upcoming. So with that, I'll pass it back to Leif.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was unscripted. I just want you to know.
That was right off the dome.
That's probably going to be our next guest. No, yeah.
Before I go, let's finish our journey across America here and pass it over to our co-host Emmett. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Hello, listeners, and hello, team. My name is Emmett Shepard. Like Leif had mentioned, I am the incredibly Gumby-esque looking co-host to Chinny Nwagbo. And my role with PeacePlayers right now currently is I'm the blood, sweat, and tears of this podcast. As you know, it was my brainchild, and sort of I'm the coordinator for all of it as well. But I'm super happy with the family. It's not even a team anymore, Chinny. It's a family that I get to work with every day on this podcast. And I'm super excited to sort of look back and talk about the highlights and all the ups, no downs, only ups of this past season with all of you. So I'm excited.
Right.
Cool. And yes, of course, coming back to the East Coast now, I am Leif, like Leaf or Leif, but Leif. And I'm recording from the beautiful Adirondack Park in New York State. And I've been helping to produce the show, doing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, recording the episodes and providing suggested cuts, helping with the development, all that jazz. And when I'm not working on the podcast, I am helping to coordinate PeacePlayers marketing and communications as a part of our global support team. And shout out to Bailey Rasmussen, who could not be here. And she's not feeling well today, she's been involved. We'd also like to shout out Rifka Miyara, who's from would have been calling from the Middle East. This is a little bit past her bedtime, so she is not able to make the call today. But they are both integral to the production of this podcast.
Absolutely.
And so again, shout outs and high fives to them. So moving on, we've now released, as of when you're hearing this, we've now released 10 episodes with 10 brilliant guests. Each guest has brought something different to the microphone and to the screen. Arn Tellum of the Detroit Pistons talked about putting ourselves in uncomfortable positions to push ourselves further and improve. Courtney Charles of Raptors 905 talked about the need to look inside ourselves before addressing conflict with others, which also happens to align with PeacePlayers' core values of inside-out transformation and seeing people as people, just a subtle plug there. And we also spoke to former NBA star and current Columbia University Law School professor Len Elmore, and he reminded us that athletes and activism is not a new phenomenon. It's been going on for century, if not longer. And then finally, we also, this is a deep cut joke for those who have been really paying attention when they're listening and watching. We also spoke with Alicia Greenberg, who helped us learn how to spell philanthropy. Go ahead, take a minute, try and spell it in your head. And if you didn't, if you didn't know it, go back into the podcast, scroll down a few episodes and see how you did. With all of that in mind, those few guests that I mentioned, along with many more, my question to you all, our guests, is what has been your favorite moment from the podcast thus far? It could be behind the scenes stuff. It could be a funny moment. It could be something that you learned, or as I said, a laugh out loud moment. So Doc, as the man who's been doing all our post-production, I want to start with you.
So for me, it is, I would say it really has nothing to do with any conversation pieces, to be honest. the very first episode, the pilot with Chad Ford, is my favorite because that was the beginning of all of this. We put a whole lot of time, dedication, effort, cuts, a lot of re-edits. We didn't know what direction we was going to go in, 30 minutes, an hour. So that one just like really stands out for me because that was the first one that we really, really did. We've made changes along the way. We've made adjustments along the way, but it's always that first step that we all have to take to move forward to success. And that was it. That was it. Manifested from a thought, a conversation. Let's try to, think of doing something different to spread ourselves out to the world. And a podcast was something I was brought up in. Here we are, a whole season. And so that is my favorite. I do have a couple like behind the scene moments, but nothing in particular. Little conversations that I have to cut out. Every times where I got to make cuts, and I'm like, this is pretty good, but I know I have it in here type stuff. So a lot of stuff, a lot of people never hear, but my favorite one is the first one with Chad Ford because that was enough of all of this.
Yeah, and that's too funny.
I apologize,
that you brought
Doc.
up how long is it going to be? We had probably about 5 different versions of that episode. So thanks for the insight there, Doc. And fortunately we have had to cut some decent segments that maybe folks will bring up a little bit later, maybe not. But why don't we go over to Emmett now? Emmett, your favorite moment so far?
No, so the thing is that I found so many little idiosyncrasies that our team did as the most enjoyable. I think, the individual meetings we had of just the early development stages is something that I love so much, is just talking ideas out and sort of there's no basis for grounding until you talk to Leif. And then he goes, okay, can you come back to reality while we sort of figure out something that we can do that's attainable? And you're like, you're right. That makes sense. But I think those initial stages where we were sort of, where can this podcast go? And what is it that we exactly want to do? I know that those conversations for me were so inspiring and addicting in a way. Like me and Chinny talked for hours a lot of the time of just, and then we could do this, and then we could have merch, and then we could have a studio. And it was like, we hadn't even thought about who our first guest was kind of thing. But I think just having that creativity spark and being like, I want to try to make this as big as possible, that to me has always been my favorite part of this whole process for me.
Yeah, very cool.
Chinny, what about you?
I think you guys started before me, and I kind of came on at the end as the host, and I am so thankful I did. I think there's not one particular moment that stands out in the forefront of my mind, but I will say that being in the midst of such great company and such wonderful and diverse minds has truly been a blessing for me, just to be able to have those fresh perspectives and just be able to be in a space where you can be completely transparent and authentically yourself. And not feel like you're going to be judged, but feel like, whatever you say, there's going to be some value added to that. And I get it from this group, but I also get it and I don't know if Emmett's going to agree with me, but every single conversation we have, I walk away feeling like, wow, this was dynamic. There's no greater feeling I have than having conversations with people who are not like me, who can provide perspectives that I've never thought of, and who can articulate themselves in a way that I'm taking things from what they said, those tangible things, and I can apply those to my life. That is probably the most rewarding thing about this role and being able to work with all of you, that I am just expanding and growing, and I know and can feel that I'm becoming a better person. So that would be those are my favorite moments, you guys and our guest. Was that too philosophical? Was that too
Yeah, this is certainly taking a different
Crying like-
route than I expected. I was thinking moments of the sharing moments and stories from the guests, but no, let's hype each other up. Let's hype each
Chinny
other
went
up.
on a deep dive. I like
Yeah,
that.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love that.
If
I love
we
it.
don't, who is?
Yeah.
Andrea,
True.
why don't we hear from you now?
Yeah, so for me, I just the most, so first of all, I have to say I love the Icebreaker King.
Oh yeah.
I love what's the last time you did the first time, just to hear the
Mhm.
answers to that. And it's really thought-provoking. And I had
Yeah.
never really heard anyone ask that question before. And so it's interesting to hear some of the replies from our guests. And then I have to say my all-time favorite though are the lightning rounds. I love the questions in those as well, but just kind of that real quick thought, what comes to mind first. And those things, made the podcast fun, really easy to get into, a good transition into some of the deep conversations you all were getting into. But I felt like each one of the podcast sessions left me with a feeling of being inspired. How can I do more? It also left me very optimistic. Some of the work we do is it's selfless a lot. We're dealing with some really tough situations, especially in Chicago, what we're dealing with gun violence and youth and the community that I'm in. I mean, we're in it really, really deep. So, listening to some of the guests and just, seeing some of the things that they've gone through and just the encouraging words, the advice. And then I also, they left me feeling the podcast sessions had me having a sense of gratefulness after all, just being grateful that that I had the opportunity to be in the presence of such great minds, and that the guests that were thoughtfully selected, when you left each session, you felt a level of connectedness to them. And yes, I just say, kudos to the thoughtfulness that really went behind each one of the selection of our guests, and more to come, which I'm excited to be a part of that and to see what's to come. But and then lastly, I would say I have a long list of books that I need to read, because there was a lot of there were a lot of great sharing of some books to read, and so I look forward to that. But like I said, this has been just an awesome experience. The ride has been great.
With that's the drop the mic moment right there. No, I'm just kidding.
Straight up.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. It's so funny you mentioned the book list. I think what was really speaking of the book list, I thought what was a really interesting and cool moment was when Chinny and Emmett were talking to Len Elmore, and he brought up Malcolm X's autobiography, and then I think it was off the call or off the official recording when we were still talking to him, and he after the fact he sent through 3 or 4 more book recommendations. I think we included those in our episode show description. You did. So if you're looking for books to read, folks, go back into the Len Elmore episode. I can't recall the name of it, but and go check out and see what books he's recommended. And so it's interesting that you bring up the icebreaker, Andrea, because I wasn't sure if we should incorporate it in today's episode, but I'd love to hear from you, Andrea. What was the last thing you did for the first time? Did I get that right?
Oh, wow. How could I answer that? The last time I did for the first time. Here's a new one for me. My daughter started her freshman year at high school. So the whole experience of having a high schooler who now she really thinks she knows everything. But yeah, so orientation, freshman orientation and all of this. And I had forgotten because it's been so long ago since I was a high school freshman.
Stop it. Oh, stop it.
Like
Stop.
just the anxiety that goes along with moving to a new school. Haven't seen her friends in over a year because of COVID. But I'd forgotten like the nerves and anxiety of that on my daughter, because I was like, why is she so moody? So I went, and so that would be what I would say, just the experience of getting her onboarded and into school and all of this stuff. So yeah.
Great experience.
Very similar to Courtney's episode as well.
Yeah,
that was his response, trying to relate to son in that way. Emmett's answer to this question. Let me see if I can get this right. What was the last time you did something for the first time?
Yes,
Boom,
Icebreaker King.
It.
All
like it.
yours.
Like
Go ahead, please share us.
That's tough. I mean,
share with us.
I try to, and this is a subtle flex, but I try to do at least one new thing a day that I haven't done before. That's like sort of this sort of idea of seeking discomfort that I try to live by. And
weird
so,
flex, but okay.
Yeah, weird flex, very weird flex. Deeper issues there, but we'll address it at a different time. What am I running from? But yeah, no. I went to a comedy show, which was not the first time I had done that, but I went with Michaela, my lovely girlfriend. Shouts out Michaela. And it was the first time that I got emotional. It was an emotional comedy show. So it was a comic who was clearly going through some pretty serious emotional turmoil in his life, and he went on stage and he said, a friend of mine recently just passed away, and I'm not feeling that funny. I'm just going to sing you guys a song for him. And it was so heartwarming. And it was like clearly evident that everybody there bought tickets to see a comedy show, but we're also so human and like compassionate and being like, yeah, we'll just let you do your thing, man. Like you're hurting right now, and we can tell, and we won't laugh or anything like that. We'll just let you have your space. And that was the first time I had ever seen something like that in a comedy setting, for sure.
Very nice. Very nice.
So thanks so much for sharing, Emmett, and everyone else. And to our listeners and our viewers at home, drop in a review, send us an email. If we give you our emails, so let us know on social media what have been some of your favorite moments from this first season. And if you want to, you could also let us know what was the last thing that you did for the first time. I think we'd be very, very curious to hear that. And I don't know.
Yeah, and as me and Chinny say, you can say what it is, and we will only judge you heavily for it afterwards.
That's correct.
So that's just the only disclaimer I wanted to say.
Yes.
Oh gosh, how I've wanted to cut those out of every episode. Anyways, so I think we've gotten to the point in the show where we need to shake and bake things up a little bit. So this next part is for Emmett and Chinny only. This is a fun, quick break from the discussion to help us get to know our hosts a little better. That's right, folks. It's the lightning round. Doc, hit that bell. Okay, there it was. Typically it's Emmett and Chinny facilitating this game, but today we're putting them under the microscope. We've got our stopwatches at the ready. They have anywhere between 3 and 120 seconds to respond. Don't worry, we'll not judge who answers first. We'll just judge who answers correctly.
Right.
That's right.
There you go.
There are right or wrong answers.
Yep.
So let's begin.
Wait, and so just to be clear, are me and Chinny answering at the same time? Is one of us going first and then the next person, or are we just screaming over each other? How is this going to work?
Wild West.
Oh, okay, there's no rules. I love it. Okay.
No rules. Chinny, you're on mute.
No, don't tell her that. Then I would win. So that's the problem.
Oh man, I said some great, brilliant things there, but it's okay. It's fine. All right.
So let's begin. Favorite time of day?
Sunset.
Any time of the day. Any time of the
Sunset.
day.
You have to pick one, Chinny. You have to pick.
Sunrise.
All right. Favorite meal of the day?
Dinner.
Breakfast.
Interesting. Sweet or salty food?
Sweet.
Ditto. Okay. Scuba diving or skydiving?
Scuba
Skydiving.
diving.
Well, can we get that one? Can we get one from Emmett first?
Scuba diving.
Chinny?
Skydiving.
Whoa, I think you're the
Mhm.
first to say skydiving. I think.
Yeah.
Favorite sport?
Basketball. I'm playing basketball.
Favorite place in the world to travel?
Wow.
Ooh.
That's wow.
Remember,
Gosh.
you have
You can,
anywhere
you can
between
say Detroit if
3
you want
and
to. I know
120
you're up when it comes to Detroit.
Detroit is up
Favorite
there.
there's because I have so many listeners from all the countries I played in. I'm gonna have to say no favorite. Spain.
Oh, Spain. Okay.
Sorry.
No
Spain.
favorite, but Spain.
Spain.
I'm gonna say it's a tie between South Africa and Italy for me.
Oh, I can have a tie? That's
Well,
fine. Just next question.
No,
Next question.
No tie. Okay.
Thank you, Doc.
Italy. I'll go Italy. Italy.
All right.
Nice. Okay. Last thing you laughed at.
This here.
This call. Yeah, this call.
Yeah, because you guys are hilarious.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are.
Yeah.
You guys
Oh
are
yeah, of course.
Last book you read.
oh, God.
It's actually right here.
2004? No.
It's right here. Actually, let me just pull it up. Called Never Split the Difference. It's a
By
good
who?
book about negotiating. Negotiating as if your life depended on it, by Chris Voss. So, Never Split the Difference.
Mine, I have it as well right here. Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man by Emmanuel Acho.
Oh, nice. I didn't know he had a book. Awesome.
Yeah, he's got a book. It's fire. He's a very gorgeous man. Emmanuel,
Very
if
gorgeous.
you're listening to this, please come on our podcast.
Please.
We would love to have you and talk
Please.
about this book.
Absolutely.
But it's phenomenal. Everybody should read this. Seriously.
Love it. Love it.
All right. Next question. Last movie you watched.
Ooh, last movie I watched? What was the last movie I watched? I just watched a movie because I watched them on Netflix.
TV, not TV, so movie specifically.
A movie. I don't want to like go into like my age and tell you like one of my favorite movies, because then you guys will judge me heavily, like Emmett always says. So
Yep.
No,
Do it,
I
Chinny.
am.
Do it. Do
I'll
it. Do it.
So I really enjoy, judge me if you will, The Sound of Music. I love musicals. Yeah, Mary Poppins, Sound of Music, all those. Yeah. So I'll stick with that. Even though
We'll
that
talk
wasn't
about that later.
No,
I'm
Chinny,
just
that's
kidding.
cool. I'm a huge Fred Astaire. I love Fred Astaire movies.
Yeah. So, yeah. There you go. Thank
Singing
you.
in the Rain, low key
support.
amazing.
I
Yeah.
think
Singing in the Rain
knew?
is great. Singing in the Rain is phenomenal.
Who knew? Okay, yeah. Mhm.
Last movie I watched was actually Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Oh, that's
It's a Ben Stiller movie. It was based off of a New York Times best-selling book about a guy who has immensely intense daydreams, and he works for Life magazine. And he's trying to fall in love with a girl, but he can't find the nerve to talk to her. So he imagines all these different scenarios in which he's like a super macho guy, a mountain man, kind of climber, but all of them end with him talking to the girl. And it's pretty it's a heartwarming, fuzzy sort of film, you know?
There's a common theme here with you with this
Yeah,
heartwarming,
I need to be coddled and
loving.
loved. Yeah, no, I
Yes,
feel you.
I love it. I love it.
Okay,
You were gonna
enough
say
chatter.
Secret Life of Pets.
Enough chatter. Save it or spend it.
Save it.
Save it.
Good answer. Good answer. Dine in or dine out?
Dine out. Because I love people and travel.
Yeah, I'm gonna say dine out too, but I would
people
would say that people can come over and dine in with
Oh
me
yeah, I
also
do
at
love
the
that
same
too.
time.
Oh my gosh, I'm such an entertainer in that way. But yeah.
Country life or city life?
City.
I'm gonna say country life. I'm gonna stick with my farm town roots and kind of
Little
say
bit
that
country.
I'm a
Nothing
country
wrong with that.
I'm
boy
country
at heart.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the last thing that made you smile?
Chinny.
You guys. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Emmett.
Aw.
Yeah.
Name a person who inspires you.
Ooh, a person who inspires me. There are many people who inspire me. So recently I didn't realize that I was being inspired because I always thought that I was my own inspiration. But I've realized that in my older age, there are plenty of people who inspire me, and it's on a daily basis. And I'll say this to be fair, all of you, of course, in your own way, but I'll say Andrea, just because right now, the way she speaks, her calmness, her wisdom, that is very inspiring, something to look to. And I think that, it's a strong trait to have. So I'll say you.
Thank you.
Don't be so surprised next time, Andrea, when she call your name.
No. I think
all that
there's so
knowledge
much wisdom, all that knowledge, and you are so free. You're so caring enough to share it. And so, that's pretty inspiring. So
thank you.
Top that, Emmett.
My parents are a big one. My sister.
Yeah.
Michaela will get mad at me if I don't say her name. So Michaela. Chinny as well.
I'm sure the way that you put that too is going to make it much better.
Everyone here as well.
I love you. Yeah. But I would say legitimately the first time I got truly inspired by a group of people was when I worked in Belfast as a volunteer for PeacePlayers, and sort of everyone I've met through PeacePlayers in some form or another has this baseline ability to get me out of bed and want to run through a brick wall in the nicest way possible. And so I'm gonna leave it, like Chinny said, to Andrea and Doc and Leif and Bailey and Haley and Joe and Rochelle and everybody who I've had the pleasure of working with. The work that they do and how much they just truly love what they do is really, really inspiring to me. And I haven't met anybody like that before.
There you go. Way to put that. Those are my words too. I agree.
Andrea, Doc, do you think those were the right answers?
Yeah. As long as they mention both of us, I'm cool.
Yep. 100%.
Name one thing you want to leave the world with after you're gone.
Wow.
That's so
I always
tough.
say wow when we ask this question, but I never thought about it for myself.
And I'm like, damn, this is a hard question. This is not easy to answer.
Please don't ask
5
that one.
seconds.
A sense of inner peace, love, understanding, appreciation, and just the indomitable will to keep going and know that you can do anything you put your mind to. I'll say that. That's what I want people to know about themselves as they move in this world.
I can't beat that, so that's cool.
No.
I'm just gonna say
love is a big
kindness and compassion and that dial moving a little bit forward in terms of education also. Just wanting that at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Nice. Wonderful. One takeaway you want the listener to remember from today?
Listen to our podcast.
One takeaway I want the listener to remember from today is that listeners, if you're listening, which you better be because you're listeners, is that this podcast would be nowhere without Andrea, Doc, Leif, Bailey, Haley, Joe, Rifka. All of these people are the true people foundation of this podcast. Me and Chinny, just to reap the benefits from all the work that they get to do behind the scenes. All me and Chinny have to really do is just show up, and everything else is laid out for us thanks to all of these amazing, lovely women and men.
And the other part to that is do what you love. You can feel the love and the energy through this conversation we're having because of doing what you're most passionate about. And so being able to do what you're most passionate about and being aligned with people who are also passionate in that same right is the best feeling in the world.
Hits you right here. You can't see it if you're listening, but I'm pounding my chest.
Pounding his chest.
Hits me right in the chest right there.
I agree with Doc. I think Chinny, you got me on the skydiving one.
Really?
Oh yeah. I want to.
I'll jump out of a plane. Now go underwater and be submerged and potentially die. No.
Jumping out of a plane is cool. That's chill.
Yeah, it's so
That's
easy.
good.
It's just like just hold your breath and jump. You know, you can see the world. You see all this beautiful underwater. It's just like, oh my God, I have oxygen. I might. No.
Hello. Yeah, I guess on your jump, you just please parachute open up, please.
I'm reminded of Emmett encouraging our listeners to go and run off a mountain.
I know,
In the
exactly.
Sophia episode.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they got cut out.
Yeah,
That's
there
good.
Was,
That's better.
there was a few times. There where I
PSA,
was like,
please do not run and jump off of a mountain unless you are a trained professional. Then do whatever you want. Kind of thing.
Then do whatever you want.
No, that was great. Thank you both for participating. I think that probably lasted just about as long as our normal with our other guests. And I think when we went behind the scenes stuff there, I think we were surprised at when we first started to do the lightning round. We introduced it as a way to get to know our guests a little bit on the lighter side. And I think we were surprised at how I don't want to say challenging, but like how much thought a lot of the guests put into it, rather than sort of just going with the gut reaction. So that part was always a little, not always a little, it has always been interesting to hear their responses to that, and the way that they approach it. Because I think like Elena Beard, she crushed it in like we were done in a minute with that one.
Her episode was special.
She
was
knew.
Awesome. Yeah.
No, she took the W for lightning round for sure.
Yeah,
she has the
for
fastest
sure.
time by far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some other people.
We're still doing the show. No, I'm just kidding. Just joking.
And so with all of that said, before we really start to wrap things up here, there's a few things that we want to do before we close out, and the one of them is thanking all the people that have made the podcast possible. You've already heard some of those names mentioned. Emmett and Chinny have already talked about it a little bit, but I want to hand it over to Chinny so that we can get a real clean cut version of this. So go ahead, Chinny.
Yeah. So, and I don't want to make this redundant, but thank you, staff, all of you. You know who you are. Your contribution to this podcast is phenomenal, and it will transcend past you, and it will serve something bigger than yourself. So be proud of that. We are so thankful for your hands in this podcast. And for our listeners, oh my goodness, thank you for being with us on this journey. We're just getting started. Your ears, your heart, your energy, your souls have been with us, guiding us through these conversations. And we ask that you return again for season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The limit is endless. And so I want to take this time to read some of these reviews that you guys have dropped for us. And I'm going to start off with, truly speaking, there's a layout here for me, but I'm actually going to start off with Mama MVP. If you're listening, Mama MVP,
no.
she left us a review that is, as I like to say, thebomb.com. And she says, this podcast reminds us that we are all connected. To be a citizen of the world is to take care of others. Mama MVP.
Shout out to moms.
I felt that. Shout out to
Mama
all
Shepard.
over the world. Yeah. Whoop, there it is. She's been revealed. And then the next one is from Henry Ty, who says, I don't know why I like this one, but all-star content with all-star guests, all about perspective and all about the journey. This show shows us and allows us to learn why others should be picked up and held up. And it says, keep being great, Chinny. I don't know why I picked that one, great. But I just wanted to read that one. That was awesome. And then from the Elegant Peasant, interesting name there. Elegant Peasant. Still asking myself, when was the last time I did something for the first time? Didn't ask to get shook like this, but glad it happened. We love to see it. Great podcast. And the very special one that I leave for the end from an anonymous person named Chinny N. Don't know who that is.
I don't know who that could be.
And it just plainly states, can I rate my own podcast? This was the coolest ever. I'm so grateful to use my platform to spread peace and love. Chinny N, wherever you are.
Yeah, shouts out you.
Great.
You sound incredibly intelligent, incredibly beautiful. So hopefully we can send you a gift basket or something like that.
Yes. No, thank you so much, listeners. Without you, none of this is possible. And like I always say at the end of our podcast, please share with your friends. And Emmett says a little bit more there, but just continue to share. We appreciate your support and your love. Life, all you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, well
no,
done. Thank you,
I'll
Chinny.
second that, Chinny. Thank you to everyone who's left a review, and shout out to all the staff and Peace Players that have made this possible. I do want to just sort of say their names again so that
Yes,
they
please.
can hear it be acknowledged. We've got Bailey Rasmussen, we've got Haley Riley, Joe Smith. We were talking about it on our celebration call, but Haley and Joe are really sort of the ones that just on a whim heard the idea and let us run with it. So shouts out to them, and also Rifka, who is on her weekends now and enjoying time with family, we imagine, and has really helped with sort of the way that we've framed a lot of these episodes. So really big shouts out to them.
Yeah. Good job. Good
Mm.
job, Emmett.
I don't know. I
Yes,
just word
good job,
vomited.
Emmett.
That's awesome. Very awesome.
Thank you
Well said.
for sort of reminding us or sharing with the folks why we wanted to do the podcast in the first place, and the insight behind why we chose to do it. And so I think this is a great place to sort of transition to our final segment. This is our drop the mic moment or moments.
Drop it.
And so I want to pass it back to our other panelists who we've not heard from in a bit. I'd love to hear from each of you what your drop the mic moment is. What would you like the listener or the viewer, if you're still watching on YouTube, what would you like them to take away from Play It Forward Season 1? What has been your favorite moment of learning from the season thus far? Andrea, why don't we start with you?
Oh, put me on the spot first. Okay. I think the episode with Brian and the conversation about being your best self. And I think that resonated with me because that's the mentality that I'm working to instill in the youth that we are working with in Chicago here. And I think helping them to become stronger athletes, kids, people, where they care about their community and want to see things change. That really resonated with me. And so, I'm definitely going to work on carrying that message forward to the kids that I work with, the youth that I work with, and even, live by that myself. I try to be, but just to keep reminding myself, I may need to put that little reminder, on my wall somewhere. But yeah, just, that really resonated with me, and just what we're going through in Chicago right now. That's what we're trying to instill in our youth.
Yeah. And that's episode 3, Preparation Meets Performance, folks, with Brian Levinson, who we should also mention. We spoke to him early on in the process about, the podcast and what we should do. And he was the one who suggested the going for big guests, going for big name guests. And so without his sort of insight, I'm not sure where the podcast would have gone. Sure, it would have been just as great, but it certainly was very helpful to have his insight as well. So Doc, Coach Doc, why don't we hear from you now?
Yeah.
So for me, it'd be a little different. I wouldn't pick just one moment. I want to say overall, all the guests, they all had like a similarity as far as having a vision or some type of goal and actually striving towards that, figuring out how to do that. And as you see, they accomplished that. Right. And it's really just a testament to think it, see it, do it, that you got to take a step first. And they all are the living embodiment of that, of someone going out on a limb and taking a risk and risking and betting on themselves, having a game plan. I think it was Brian who answered one of the questions as far as lightning rounds, like favorite time of the day. He was saying, like, I want to say it was Brian. He was saying, like, everybody talk about how you should get up in the morning, but I don't get up in the morning. I do my work, middle of the day, something like that. And it's kind of just like everybody got their own traditions.
Right.
Only thing that matters is you accomplishing these goals and you knocking out these tasks.
Right.
It's not just only for self, understanding that we are in the world with everybody else. and we have to share this world with one another. So do what you do, love what you do, just make sure you keep everybody else like in mind as you do that, because we all can help. We can help the world by helping each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Conflict is going on that a lot of our guests are, have been in, and it's just a lot of unnecessary stuff. And just after the season, it's just really, really motivating and inspirational just to see people like with all this stuff going on, they still knocking out tasks, they still looking out for other
Yeah.
people than themselves. So that'll be mine.
I love it.
No, I think that's very, very relevant
There's
and great.
yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Doc.
Mhm.
Emmett and Chinny. Emmett, I know you're gonna have to take off here pretty shortly. Would you like to share your drop the mic moment first?
Mm. There's so many.
Yeah, there are so many. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I remember when we initially came up with the idea for Drop the Mic, I was in the back of my head, there was a little bit of me being like, that drop the mic there's a reason it's called Drop the Mic, is that it's like, it gives you that gut visceral feeling of like,
Yeah, that period,
wow, that
hard
really just
stop.
came out. And I was worried that we weren't going to be able to do that in each episode, but we pretty much did, which is
Right.
crazy. And I think, like Doc said, there was a commonality between all of the guests that we had, where it was
Right.
like these words would keep popping up of just like educate,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
and like continue to set goals for yourself, and
Yeah.
just like know that if you have something set forward in your mind,
Yeah.
it helps you immensely. And sort of
Yeah.
just like, we've talked to so many trailblazers and so many
Yeah.
people who have just been pioneers in their field, which is super, just as Chinny said, super insightful to be able to just sit and listen to. And those three things have always come up as sort of these pillars of success for them, is just listening, educating, and continuing to setting goals for themselves, kind of thing.
And I'll just say that that was very well put, Emmett. And I'll also say that and I'm just going to kind of reiterate Doc's and Emmett's point here, is they did it their way. And so my favorite drop the mic moment is one of the things that I live by too. And I said this in the show a couple of times, but I'll say it again. Never measure your life using someone else's ruler. And so that every guest has shown that they've used their own and found their own way in life, and they found their own definition of success, and they found a way to play it forward, right? Pay it forward to all those listeners. And so, yeah, I like that. That's been the glue, the thread through season one. And I'll drop the mic there. Thank you.
Boom. Thebomb.com.
Yes, Andrea.
Yeah, you know what? And it's funny because I was looking back at because I took some notes and listening to some of the podcasts, and one of the things that that Arn Teller talked about was season an opportunity and don't be afraid of being judged. He said, and then know how you're going to use your platform. And I think that fits it exactly into what Chinny was just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. There's a quote that I had in high school that my soft butt thought was a good quote to put in my yearbook, which was a Samuel Beckett quote that said, fail again, fail better. And for some reason, I think that resonates with a lot of the guests that we've had, is that they've had so many moments of failure that led to their immense success, kind of. And you can't be afraid to fail and continue to fail, because as long as you're passionate about something, that will be your driving force to continue.
Yeah, right. I agree. Good. Very good.
Those were all great. And I want to end it there, but I also want to also just remind folks, a lot of the people that we've talked to, a lot of the guests have been are in some shape or form in the sports industry or in the sports field. And that's what PeacePlayers does, is we use sport to bring people together, to unite, educate, and inspire, to build peace, to create equity. And it's just been really interesting to see how diverse that field can be, the sports industry can be, to do just that. I don't think I would have never guessed you until I ran into and became a part of PeacePlayers, that you could use sport to do the work that we're doing across the world, you know. And so just like sport has the power to bridge divides, you know.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's basketball, you know, there's so many things it can do to create a shared experience for people, and the different ways that people can do that is just really impressive. And even I'm thinking about you know, the multiple conversations that we've had where we didn't intentionally plan to bring out our core values of inside out transformation or seeing people as people or culture of collaboration, but it came out naturally in the conversation, in what the people were, in the work that the people were doing, you know. I'm thinking again, like Courtney Charles. I'm thinking of when we were talking about The Sound of Metal with Tim Rasmussen. You know, it sort of just, that one in particular, it just sort of naturally happened. Whereas like all of a sudden we were talking about inside out transformation there. You know, that I just thought that was really special. And I think this is a good place to end it. And so, yeah. Folks, we did it. Well done.
Thank you, everyone.
You know, thank you all for being on. I'll throw it out to the group. Is there anything in particular you all want to plug?
I would like to plug our phenomenal guests. Thank you so much for your contribution to this show. Thank you for your words that have inspired us and will continue to inspire us. And just thank you for your time and your transparency. It has and will continue to go a very, very long way past season 1. So we appreciate it.
Want to echo what Chinny said. And Chinny knows what I'm going to do after this call, because there's been so many drop the mic moments that I'm going to need to be in a self-induced coma in terms of just process everything that was just said. So listeners, I hope you've picked up my skill of, after listening to the podcast, you just lie down and let it all fester and sort of absorb all the information, because it is quite therapeutic. But yeah, that's it for me. I got nothing else to say. I love you guys so much, and I'm really excited to see what season 2 has to offer and what it can provide for our listeners and the greater world.
I guess I follow up my last little words. Happy that season 1 went well. Happy how everything went. I'm happy how everything was structured. Happy to be a part of this team. Happy for all the guests to come on, and we just had a great time this season. Looking forward to what's to come. For me personally, only thing I can plug will be my Instagram. It's the only thing I really use as I go around trying to motivate, coach, mentor, do whatever good I can in Detroit. So you can find me at Detroit Doc. Hopefully I'll start putting up more videos and
follow you actually
for the youth or whoever.
Throw that follow, Detroit Doc.
Detroit Doc. I'm not going to my phone to follow him right now. No,
I'm doing the same exact thing.
Detroit Doc.
Andrea, anything?
Yeah, I would just encourage our listeners to follow the work of PeacePlayers as a whole, internationally, in the States, but there are great stories coming out of each one of these locations, and how we're inspiring youth and promoting peace and peace building. So, and they're just the phenomenal kids that we work with, and the leaders that are inspiring them every day. So, just encourage you to follow us, help to support us, because we do a lot of stuff. So we always need the support. And yeah, this has been a great journey, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for this group and for PeacePlayers. And I want to wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And with that, let's say bye.
Bye, guys. See you in November.
Thank you.
And that's it for today's episode. Thank you all for listening and joining us on this journey. We are excited to say, as Emmett already said earlier, that we will be returning for a season 2. Episodes will be released starting November 1st. So in the meantime, if you like what you heard, we encourage you to like, download, subscribe, and review on Apple Podcasts. It really does help get the word out and spread the message and let people know that we have this incredible podcast going on. And so thanks for listening now. And again, later, when you're on that long car ride, encouraging your friends and family to listen to the latest episode with Chad Ford. You can learn more about PeacePlayers by visiting our website and subscribing to the quarterly newsletter. You can do that at www.peaceplayers.org. And you can learn more about all of the people that we mentioned by visiting the section on our team. And be sure to follow us on social at PeacePlayers International, mostly on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And thank you all for listening and watching. We can't wait to share the next season with you all soon. Bye.